Hi, I'm just going to throw up the antitrust notice as usual.
Konbanwa. Konnichiwa. Which one you prefer?
Well, konnichiwa. It's nighttime, so let's roll with konbanwa.
Konbanwa. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Not too bad, though. It's only 10 p.m., much better than some days where it would roll much, much later.
Your house looks very much brighter for 10 p.m.
Yeah, so this is not my real background. You see, I was on a phone call with DLA Piper, and Mark Radcliffe was like, your background is so boring. This is my actual place. That's my study. And he was like, oh, you should change it. So yeah, this is my living room.
Okay.
It's not that tidy in reality.
But it actually works surprisingly well without green screen, the fake background. So
pretty good, actually.
But if I put any, fake background, it gets all scrambled here.
I think it's probably because of the lights. There's LED lights and so on, throwing a lot of light. The one thing that's interesting, right now the computer I'm using is an iMac on the desktop here. This is my video editing machine. The camera resolution is very low. Balakrishna is online. Hi, Balakrishna.
Hi, Shane.
Right. So I guess we'll be getting started soon. I put up the antitrust notice as always. If people have any questions about antitrust, you can have a look at our policy or contact our antitrust counsel. We put this up at every meeting where we expect to have decisions and so on. I'll just take that down now. I wanted to share a couple of things with you. An email just went out to the mailing list, which covered some key points. Basically, we have the information we needed from LF Education about what to do. So the main points are that LF Training have created a folder for us to construct course material. And in that folder, they've included a guide. They recommend publishing using edX.org. Now, edX.org as a platform is bespoke. The underlying software is freely available. The advantage of using edX, and it's recommended by LF Training, is that it has a pre-existing audience of 35 million people. And it's been very successful in LF Training's experience in bringing people in. They will provide existing training material under CC0 for us. Compliance basics for developers, no problem. That's not on edX.org. That's located on the LF server. So some translation would be necessary. But if we follow the directions in the directory they gave us, they will do the heavy lifting. So I'm just going to do a new share here of the directory. So this directory, you should all have access to the link in the email I sent. I'm also going to put the link in our chat right now. Bear with me. Everything on my screen is everywhere, so I have to turn my head all the time. Okay, so the link is in the chat, and everyone should have access to this folder. Actually, it's unrestricted. So essentially, they show how to do a course design. And they will, this is the document to describe the course and to help actually put it together. This is the document explaining how to create courses on edX. And the other material we have is, oops, wrong button, right button, wrong button, wrong button. You just saw the secret Linux Foundation folder. You're welcome. So this is where we put in the content for the course. And Flavia basically said that if we put it into a document that should be fine to get started. So the slides I just showed you would be more ideal. Sorry, the slides I just showed you would be ideal to explain how to do this, but the nutshell is that we can just start putting things into this document based off the existing slides, and they can help build from there. Right, I'll shut up now and hand it over to Balakrishna, our boss, to absorb that information and to take you through next steps.
Yeah, so good day, everyone. I'll keep it generic because I really am not sure where it's afternoon and where it's evening. Yeah, good day, everyone. And for today, my agenda was that I was supposed to check, I was supposed to explore edX platform. And then last week, Shane had shared a very cool link with us on how to author our first training in edX platform. And luckily now in this Google Drive, we also have a document which helps us understand how to create a edX platform training in detail, right? And after that, we were supposed to see if LF210 could be mapped to OpenChain material if it was available in CC0. But that again, I have to, that discussion, I think I have to.
I could just interject there. And actually, Clive, the head of training, didn't put a particular restriction on material we can get. So we can definitely ask for it. And I think it's likely we can probably get it under CC0.
Thank you, Shane. Okay, so that point is also done. So I'll take the screenshots this week, and then I'll send across the mapping. Of course, I was going through the training again, and I saw some places where we can map it. So now the key point is, right, I went through the edX platform and the 50 minutes video on. It was a very brief video. It did not cover everything in detail, but it definitely gives us a highlight on how we have to provide the training material to the developers and how the training would be put together in the edX platform. So the basic settings we have to know, or which would be of interest for us to know, is the training when being developed. If we have a deadline in mind already, we can set an auto publish date, or the developers of the training. Of course, we are contributors of the training. The LF people are the developers of the training, right? We can actually set an auto publish date for the training where the content can be prepared in the backend without having it published for the end users immediately when the content preparation starts. And there's an option to auto publish the training. So if we are sure that the training will be ready in 3 months or 4 months, we can provide those dates beforehand. And on those dates, automatically the entire training content will be published for the end users. By doing this, I think we will be setting up a really tight deadline, which is necessary. But again, we need to figure out how exactly to do this, right? And next setting, what is available within this edX courses is we can set criteria for certificate generation. That is, we can set rules for grading, and we can set rules for the policies of how the final exam has to be conducted, right? And then a certificate will be generated based on these policies. That is, if you would like to have if any of us would like to have a section basis know-how questionnaire, or a final grand finale exam, and then how much points should a user score in the each section or in the final exam. All these things can be set in this grading policies or rules, and based on once the user satisfies those use cases for clearing the training, then the certificate should be generated. This is also set as part of the pre-settings while creating the course. And then, of course, all of us will be contributing to the, as per discussed so far, all of us contributing to the Google Docs would be more efficient, or more easier for all of us, where we can see the changes and track changes in real time, right? But otherwise, just to see how the look and feel of the video of the training content goes in the edX platform, just like how we use the WordPress application, where we can add multiple users or admins onto the WordPress application. Similarly, here for the edX open platform, multiple users can be added, and their roles can be specified to admin, viewer, and contributor, and all those things. These are not the exact terminologies, but the users, when added to the project, they can view the progress of how the course building project is going on. So these are the highlights of what is the pre-settings of the course creation. And coming to the actual content, how we have to share content to the LF team so that the training can be built. So the training has to be shared in a text format. We cannot upload the slides directly as per the video which I have seen right now. Probably there are more options. Need to explore the platform itself for that, for which we might have to access the platform software. That right? But otherwise, with respect to the authoring video or the training video, what I saw right now, we have to provide the content in a structured text format, like how we would prepare a documentation. Similarly, we have to provide an outline, sections of how the how the agenda has to look like. I have a screenshot here. I can just show it. Okay. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah, so this was a screenshot, a sample screenshot which they were using in the training. So if you can see, this is basically how the agenda or the course outline looks like. In the course outline, we would see the introduction and the different sections present within the course, and you can add multiple subsections also into this course. For example, oh shit, I'm sorry. Okay, so within the courses, you can add multiple subsections as well, right? And in each subsection, we can continue adding newer units of training. That is uh, in these sections itself, we can again add, consider in the introduction part, we would just have the foreword and what is the objective of the training. And in the section 1, we can have one subsection for the content of the training, initial content of the training, and then next subsection can be like a poll or a multiple choice question, or the know-how questionnaire which is present already in the LF. So in such a way, it can be designed, and all these content has to be provided in a text format so that the same thing can be copy pasted onto the platform here. And it supports rich text format, so we can already format our texts into bold, heading, paragraph, and all those things, and place the same thing in the Google documents. It can be just copy pasted here, and the individual options have to be selected based on whether it has to be a new section or a subsection, and what has to go in it. So yeah. And okay, this we will see in the next screenshot. Yeah, other than that, so once we have the units created here, you can see in the section 1, creating course, they have the first unit. Within first unit, we can have multiple components, like we can have a discussion forum kind of a content, where a HTML page with question and answer below, in that format it would be shown, and we can embed an HTML content directly, so that you can the hyperlinks and some sort of blinking text and a link to other page, all those things can be added here. And what we see here, the third block problem, here in the using this problem section, we can add multiple choice questions or graphs, or pie charts where there would be an interactive answering mechanism, and we can all while adding the question onto the platform, we can also specify which would be the right answer. Based on that, the end user can select the answer and figure out in real time whether the answer was right or wrong as soon as selected, and need not wait until the course is completed. And finally, we can add video also onto these subunits. And coming to the most important point, yes, in Google Documents, we can provide all the texts, content that has to be used for the training and everything. And we will also be inserting the images right below, right? For example, if I'm explaining some different categories of licenses, for example, weak copyleft, strong copyleft, and all those licenses. And then underneath, if we have images giving an example of what are the different levels of licenses, or what are the different categories of licenses, if I have it embedded in the Google document, it's not enough. We need to provide an extra folder where the videos and the images have to be placed separately, so that those videos and images can be uploaded onto this platform. And we have to instead of embedding the image itself in the training, we have to specify which image, the name of the image, number of the image has to be embedded below a particular paragraph, has to be specified, so that the images are taken from the local storage space of the edX, training developing application. We cannot directly insert a image onto these pages. So that is another thing what we have to do. And next thing is we can also embed videos from different applications, which allows, so for example, we can take iframes of YouTube trainings and then directly embed it here, so that those YouTube videos would be available here in this training content. That is also possible. Right, and finally, for the Q&A units or polls, we can provide the format that is supported is again the rich text format. Otherwise, we can even provide it in the markdown format, the polls and Q&A, multiple choice questions and all those things. It can be provided in rich text format or else in markdown format. So these are the highlight points which I found in the training material, and I think this should help us get started with how we have to put our training documents together, or training content together. Any questions?
So to me, it seems quite straightforward once we have the content to get all of that into the platform. Or how did you feel when you watched the training?
Yeah, so it seems like a very straightforward approach when I was watching the authoring video. So if we have the entire content or the training in the Google document, just like how we have all the other, for example, if I can take the specification document as an example, everything is structured and the formatted. If we have the trainings also in the same format, take it out of the or we need not even take it out of the PowerPoint presentations. We can, if at all we feel the PowerPoint presentation, some of the PowerPoint presentations can be directly embedded onto the training material. We can just say which slide has to be picked and where to which subunit it has to be placed. The content can just be copy pasted from the PowerPoint to the sections of edX open platform, right? So that is possible. And anything else which we want to enhance or make it more simpler, we have to just write that in similar format as every other document. in Google Docs and share the same thing with the LF content creators. It's pretty straightforward. There's not really too much of hassle. So it's quite easy. Just only part which we have to double check is which image has to be embedded where and how exactly to address those images when placed in a separate folder. I think that would be something. If we are already aware of web development or a basic static HTML page creation, then we would have already experienced how exactly to provide the upload or image embed commands, right, where we need to have it available already in a separate storage. We cannot have it available in the local device of a person. So it goes in the same format.
Yeah, for me, it's been a long time. I even watch any HTML, but it's just basically tags there, and that's it. And you can store or save your Word document in HTML. So
yeah, but again, yeah, this is very straightforward. Instead of inserting the image directly onto the document, we just mention which image has to be embedded over there and address the image appropriately. Yeah. That's it. And probably we might have to, even if we are very particular about the dimensions of the image, we might have to specify to what margins the image should be scaled. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
And if we need new images in higher resolution, I'm going to probably be retaining and paying our creative team to do some work, so I can just add that to their work if necessary, just as a side note.
Sure, Shane. Sounds great.
Of course, free is always better. So in LF, whenever we retain different parts like marketing or creative, we have to pay them. But it's definitely something we can do to make the course happen.
Definitely. Yes, so any more queries about the edX platform?
So I'm just trying to think that, okay, if we have all the, let's say, the material, the text, the images, the possible videos, etc., available, and they are put into the whatever folder, then how long does it take for that to be worked so that we can see the kind of the end result?
I would say having all the content present into this application wouldn't be of a really very time consuming aspect. Just that reorganizing or re-verifying the content would be the most time consuming thing. So yeah. I think the review would take the most time rather than having the content uploaded over there.
Yeah.
So it's quite subjective on how much time we can really spend on it.
Yeah, and it's like finding all the typos and I don't know if there's some broken links and all these things might take some time. Hopefully there are not that many of those, but
True. So since these things are really straightforward, would it be fine if we can, as a trial, if we can start putting together, putting together would be a little more early as of this point. Can we just go through all the training materials or the reference curriculum that's available in the OpenChain right now and figure out which part of the slides needs more enhancement or where we might have some sort of a feasibility of adding more explanation, how to make it more self-readable. Can we go through all the slides? There are about 149 slides in the 2.0 approved version. can we split the slides among ourselves and figure out which of the slides may need more explanation to make it more self-readable and which don't? If we can make this segregation at this point, I think as the days pass, we can figure out who takes up which parts of the slides. We can create smaller subgroups, and then we can keep sharing how the content has to be enhanced with more self-reading paragraphs or something like that. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I'm just a little bit thinking that well, one thing is that, of course, like first we need to, go through all of those, but then at some point we should get some, people with less experience to see that, okay, do they understand what's written? But it's one thing that, let's say, experts, put something, and then somebody who's not that, experienced, it's totally different exercise for them.
Definitely, but again, expecting some new people to go through 149 slides is also a little difficult. So probably we can shortlist some slides and share it across with them. If we can shortlist about 10 or 15 slides out of 149, about 10% of it, I can share it with all the younger people I'm surrounded with, who have a very minimal or a basic knowledge of open source as per the company policies. I can share these slides with them and ask their opinion and collect their feedback and present it here in this meeting. So any suggestions on how we select those slides, or do I just pick some slides and share it with them and get the feedback?
Well, let's first, go through all the slides, and then we get a better idea what's in there. I went through those notes a few weeks ago, but I can't remember everything. But it's quite a lot of slides.
Sure, no problem. So we go through the slides and exchange communication over email sometime this week, and figure out which slides we share it across with the younger users, and figure out what should be the next steps based on their feedback. Is that fine? Okay, sounds good. Okay, so any other suggestions which we can, work on side by side, parallelly along with this, from anyone else, or Yari, or Shane?
I'm just wondering if I'm on the mailing list. Am I? Maybe I'm on the main mailing list. I am, but.
Oh, you're not on the education list? I'll just put the link here.
Maybe,
I think, yeah, I'm doing that right now. Yeah, Balakrishna, I think that's lots to work on. I mean, if all of this can happen, we've made incredible progress. Okay, education link is just in the chat of Zoom right now.
Okay, so let me just.
We've got 32 members at the moment.
Yeah, I think you should be in the education group because I remember adding you here.
Yeah, because I think I got some email, but now I don't know if I'm on there or not. I'm gonna make some. Hold on. So I try to clean up my email. I made a lot of like different rules. So maybe it's somewhere tagged. I figured out thanks Shane anyway. If I'm not I'll subscribe.
My pleasure.
Sure. Anyway, I will be sharing the email for main group as well as education group. So
you know what? Yeah. Oops. I can probably add you right now with my admin access. So I'll find you and add you.
Okay. Just that's my email.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, no, this all sounds great to me. If we can get everything working just here, it's going to be phenomenal. All right, you've been added, so you're on the education list now. You're welcome. Right, Balakrishna, are we done for today, or do we want to do something else?
So everything from my side is done. If we have any other comments or suggestions or feedback, yes, it would be probably we can continue for the rest of the session, or we are done for today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hosting this. It's really incredible to have the education list come to life. And yeah, LF Training will do everything to support us. They're hugely excited. So what you're doing is obviously very important. Thank you indeed. And talk to you in 2 weeks, I believe.
Sure. Thank you. And I'll be sharing emails across, and we'll keep this more engaged.
Wonderful. Thank you.